Welcome back. Are you ready for round two? In our first video, we covered meditation. If you haven't watched it yet, please go back and do so now. The techniques that we shared there are going to help you along the rest of your journey. It may be a good idea to go back and do that video and do the breathing exercises anyway. It'll just get you ready to focus on the information I'm going to share with you today. Today, we're going to cover 2 of the 6 basic human needs. And when I say needs, I don't mean wants. These are things in our lives that we need in order to survive in our relationship. They're no big secret, but as soon as we discuss them, I bet you'll have at least one eureka moment. Most people don't realize how simple needs are and how easy that they are to get. Before we get to those needs, let's just go back to the emotional abyss problem that I touched on in the first video. I'm going to be brutally honest with you about where you are right now, because this is the first step in creating change and progress in your relationship. It's impossible to get to where you want to go if you're not clear about where you are today. For a minute, let's just assume that I have a very simple relationship treasure map that shows you exactly where to go in order to find the secrets to that fairy tale romance that meets all of your desires. Most people think that if they only had a map like that, their relationship problems would be solved. And it makes sense, right? Obviously. If I could just find a map that shows me exactly where I want to go, that would eliminate me having to do all the emotional thinking and work and allows me to get to exactly where I want to be, that'd be great, right? Not really. Here's the problem. Even if I gave you a simple map that shows you exactly how to find your relationship treasure, the map is useless if you don't know where your starting point is. And here's where we have our emotional abyss problem. Most people are trying to learn how to go from point A to point B, yet they have no idea where point A even is or how they got there. In context of a relationship, you start out with good intentions and you thought you understood where you were headed, you're excited and passionate about your significant other, you loved how you felt around them, you made them laugh, etc., but as time passed, things just got more complicated. The frustrations mounted, and suddenly you just felt like you were about 1,000 miles away from where you intended to be. And your treasure map was a mirage. Can you relate to this? So now that I've put that spotlight on this elephant in the room, something that you won't hear anyone else talk about, let's look at how we can solve this challenge. For a minute, I'd like you to just think carefully about where your relationship life would be and if all these things were true for you right now. Your relationship is a haven where you feel safe and you have peace of mind and you enjoy spending time with that special someone. You're truly inspired and you're engaged when you get up each day, excited to figure out new ways to bring excitement into your relationship. You've got a passionate and fully engaged partner that loves you unconditionally, who you know has got your back, and that you can rely on 100%. When you're away from your significant other, you don't think negatively about it or have any worries. Wouldn't that be amazing? Well, here's the great news. The only thing that's separating you from where you are right now in this dream is to accomplish the following 3 things. You need to get clear on where you are now and what got you here, your point A. And you need to get clear on where you want to go, in very clear detail, your point B. Learn and implement the tools and systems I'll provide that will get you from point A to point B. It isn't any more complicated than that, and I'll prove it to you in these videos. But first, let me tell you a little bit more about me and how I got to this point, and furthermore, why you should even take the time to listen to me in the first place. No, I'm not a doctor. Sure, I have my bachelor's degree and I have many master's courses in human psychology under my belt, but what does that mean? Just because I can put a couple fancy letters next to my name, how is that going to help you in your relationship? Bottom line is it won't help you. What will help you is the experience myself and my team share after working for years with couples and singles who want the perfect relationship. Not only that, but I myself have enough life experience to fill up a short novel with my own mistakes. So, tell me something. Have you ever been cheated on? Have you been the one your partner's cheated with? Maybe they were married and you had no idea. Then you find out and you feel like a horrible person even though you had no idea in the first place. Or maybe one day out of nowhere, your partner just decides to leave you. You don't know why. They didn't offer you any kind of explanation. Or perhaps you're on your way to see your partner when you get a text message saying things aren't working out and you need to go your separate ways. So, yeah. every single one of these things have happened to me. It seems like I made every mistake possible and met every possible wrong guy for me. And the last one, the one with the text message, it killed me. After that relationship, I was done. I was ready to throw in the towel on relationships altogether, and I vowed that I would use guys for what they could give me, and nothing more. I was not going to be hurt again. It sounds like a sad story, doesn't it? And if I'd stuck to my resolution, it probably would be. But the bottom line is that I still longed for that perfect match, and no matter how much it hurt trying to find him, I still wanted it. 3 months after my dumping by text message, I met my perfect match. He and I have been together for over 4 years now, and we're happily married. From the moment that I met him, I knew that something was different. And as I told him, he's not perfect, but he's perfect for me. And, you know, that's what relationships are really all about. Finding that person that isn't necessarily the perfect person on the inside or the outside, because, honestly, they don't exist. But a real true love relationship is about finding that person that fills your basic human needs in a relationship, and they're perfect for you. What was wrong with my previous relationships? Well, while I was in them, I couldn't really see anything wrong at all. I thought they were perfect. But once I was on the outside looking in, I realized that every single one of those relationships was lacking one of those basic 6 human needs that I'm going to share with you today. So, what are the basic human needs for any relationship? Glad you asked. The first thing that everyone searches for in a relationship is security. A certainty that you have a sanctuary to feel protected in. That's your first human need. We want to find someone that we can count on day in and day out. We need them to be there when we want them to be. They need to be there not only physically, but mentally and spiritually as well. We want them to be on the same page that we are on our lives. If we're settled into a career and a lifestyle, we want them to be settled into theirs too. Do you have kids? Do you want that person in your life to be there for them too? What if they have kids and you don't? Is that something you can handle? Before you answer that, remember that with kids comes the kid's father or mother too. Kids are hard enough, let alone throwing another authority figure into that mix. How would you be able to handle your boyfriend or your girlfriend always being in contact with their ex? That doesn't exactly breed an environment of stability, does it? Even if they absolutely cannot stand their ex, this still brings tension into the relationship. As the question if they even want to introduce their kids to another parental figure and have to go through all this crap with another person. Or even if they're on good terms with their ex, there's always that question of, will they get back together? Even if it's just for the sake of the children. Maybe you're single, and maybe you live in separate homes with roommates, or maybe it's a long-distance relationship, or maybe your significant other has a job where they're constantly interacting with members of the opposite sex. This doesn't exactly breed an environment of security and stability, does it? Do you often question if your partner is being faithful in those situations? Distance makes the heart grow fonder, that's true, but it also throws a wedge of uncertainty and suspicion into the mix. Let's take an example from my own life. I was dating a man who, as soon as we got together, got fired from his job. Then he didn't have the initiative to go get a new one. I was working part-time and going to school full-time. I'd leave the house in the morning at 5 a.m. and I wouldn't get home until after 9 p.m. at night. Meanwhile, my partner would be sitting in the same spot on the couch playing video games all day. The only reason he got a new job is because I was able to help him get hired at the same company I worked for. Does anything about this sound secure? Not at all. And you know what? Those things, well, I thought he was a great guy for me, were what ultimately ended our relationship. Is the security need starting to make sense? Good. Because now, we're going to confuse you. What is the second human need? Surprisingly, it's insecurity. Or maybe a better word would be variety. Yep. Okay, so hold on, because I know this doesn't seem to make much sense, but it will. Let's take an example. Do you watch horror movies? I don't really like them personally, but around Halloween time I watch them non-stop. Have you ever watched one of those horror movies over and over again? When the scary parts are coming, you're ready for them, right? Maybe you close your eyes or you brace yourself in your seat, but you always know that they're coming. You didn't know about them the first time though, right? So which time that you watched the movie was the scariest? the first time, right? Your heart was racing and pounding in your ears and adrenaline kept pulsing through your body the entire movie. Then the second time you watched it, maybe you forgot one of those scary parts, so you jumped. And the third time you watched it, you knew that part was coming, so you watched wide-eyed and relaxed. Each time after that, the movie got a little bit more boring and just didn't scare you anymore. So finally, you just put the movie to the side and you don't watch it again. Why? Because it didn't give you the same thrill as the first time. Sound like a relationship? Well, that's because it is. Relationships are like this too. Remember your first date? Do you remember, how you made sure that your outfit was perfect and your hair and makeup were done just right? You put on your favorite cologne, you were nervous watching the door for your date to arrive, or your palms were sweaty as you drove to your date's house to pick them up. You felt butterflies each time you looked into their eyes, and you felt your heart race anytime your hands touched. The second date was the same, but you were just a little bit calmer than the first. You didn't fear the unexpected quite so much. Then after a few months of dating, you no longer even change your clothes when you go to meet your partner. You no longer feel butterflies, and your heart rate is always steady. Is this exciting anymore? Nope. You're secure. You're bored. You need some insecurity in your relationship. This is when things tend to go wrong. Some people will look outside their relationship to find that insecurity. They'll begin flirting with other people or even cheating on their partner. It's not because they don't love their partner anymore. It's because they just need some sort of insecurity, some sort of spontaneity, variety. So yes, it is important to have a secure and loving relationship. But at the same time, there are aspects of a relationship that still need to be up in the air and fun and spontaneous and secure. The trick is knowing which parts fit where. What needs to be locked up and secure and what needs to be free, moving, and insecure. Hopefully this has given you something to think about for today. What I want you to do now is to go get out your notebook again. This time I want you to separate your page into two columns. On one side, write secure, security, and on the other side I want you to write secure, insecurity. If you're in a relationship right now, take the time to think of all the things in your relationship that make you feel secure and loved. Write those aspects in the secure column. If you're not in a relationship, take this time to think of the things you want in a relationship that would make you feel secure. Once you've done that column, write insecure on the other and repeat the same process. If you're in a relationship, write down the aspects of your relationship that make you feel insecure and unstable. If you're single, write down those things in a relationship you would like to have that would be spontaneous and insecure. For those of you in a relationship right now, take the time to create another page with secure and insecure lists again. This time, I want you to write down those things that you want to be secure and insecure in your current relationship that aren't. Maybe you want your partner to send you flowers at work more often. This would fit into the insecure column. Or maybe you want your partner to call you when they're on their way home from work. This would fit into the secure column. Does this make sense? Take your time. Really think about this, and I want you to write down everything. Don't leave anything out. Later, we'll dissect it a little bit more, and we'll see what you've written, and we'll be able to determine if your relationship is on the right path. For those of you who are single, when you go over your lists, we'll know if they're healthy thoughts, and they'll give us a bit of an insight into reasons why your relationships will fail or succeed in the future. That's it for today. When we come back, we'll get into the next 4 of the 6 human needs with you, and I hope this was a helpful video for you once again. I'd love it if you comment and share on this video with your friends. If you're having any sort of trouble filling out your lists, please feel free to email me again, info@trustinarelationship.com, and I'll be happy to help. And until next time, I'll see you back here again.